Hi guys, it's Jess from Honest Fiction, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be sharing my January TBR. Alright guys, so I'm actually filming this 3 days before New Year's Eve, and I cannot believe 2023 is finally coming to a close. I feel like this year has been just so many ups and downs, and it has just been an emotionally chaotic year. So I'm really hoping 2024 just goes a little bit smoother, and hopefully the books I read in 2024 are all going to be amazing. So I have a decent amount of books I want to get to in January. Most of them are fantasy romance. However, I do have one like super dark romance that's been on my radar for a while, and the audiobook is finally coming out. And then I also have one like very emotional contemporary romance. But other than that, it's mostly fantasy romance, and I am so excited to talk about these books with you guys. Now, if you're unfamiliar with my channel, I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. You can also hit that notification bell to be notified whenever I post new bookish content. You can also check out my Instagram and Goodreads, both linked down below. With all that out of the way, let's talk about the books I want to read in January. Alright, so starting with fantasy romance, of course I have to reread Crescent City 2, House of Sky and Breath in preparation for Crescent City 3, House of Flame and Shadow, when it releases on January 30th. Now, I kind of have Crescent City 3 on this list because I will be reading it the day it releases. However, if it is at all as chunky as this book, I am not finishing that book in a day, so it's probably going to take me into February to finish it. But I will be rereading this book this month and hopefully posting a recap video. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I am not looking forward to rereading this book. This is my least favorite book by SJM if we're not counting Tower of Dawn from the Throne of Glass series, only because I don't like Chaol, so that book like stood no chance. But this one I actually do love the characters. I just feel like we are given so much information and not a lot actually like happens throughout this book. Although with the ending, I know House of Flame and Shadow is going to be addicting and amazing, and I cannot wait for that book to release. But anyway, like I said, I will be rereading this book, so wish me luck. And yeah, like I said, I will hopefully be posting a recap video. Still not exactly sure on the date of that. And also the way my filming scheduling is kind of lining up, it might be out like right before release day, but we'll see. Either way, I'm very excited to get back into the Crescent City world. And next up, we have Thief of Silver and Souls, and this is by Evie Chase. So this is a fantasy romance, and I had never heard of it until someone messaged me on Instagram and was like, hey, I think you would love this book. And since I've posted about it, I've received a lot more messages. So I am very excited. I feel like it's been a while since I've picked up a book that I didn't get from like TikTok or from one of my friends talking about. So I cannot wait to read this. I'll probably pick this up as soon as I'm done filming this video, actually. But this is following a girl who has these magical abilities. However, she's very frightened to use them because she accidentally, I believe, killed her sister, kind of like Frozen from Elsa, like that kind of whole dynamic. Anyway, since killing her sister, she now is trying to make amends and ends up stealing from the rich to give to the poor, kind of like to help her soul. Anyway, one day she is walking, she sees this dying noblewoman, and she decides she is going to try to save her, but accidentally steals her soul, and now the ghost of this noblewoman is like, hey, well, you stole my soul, so now why don't you help me get vengeance? There is a plot that is being had at this magical university, and I think you can infiltrate and try to stop it from occurring, and it is that story, so it sounds really good, really unique, and I cannot wait to read it. Alright, so this next book is fantasy romance. It is also wide shoes and sounds very spicy and very fun. It also kind of has like a Beauty and the Beast type vibe. And it is Ensnared, and this is by Rebecca Quinn. It is another new to me author I've never read before. I'm also picking this up because someone recommended me this book on Instagram. They DM'd and were like, hey, I think you'll love this. I trust you guys. But anyway, this sounds really good. We're following this girl who's been living in isolation after this horrible war, and she just likes living by herself with her books, her vegetable patch, and is just like keeping a quiet life. That is until these hunters come and they like chase her out of her forest. And then she's found by 5 ex-army rangers that are like hulking and huge, and they essentially say, hey, we'll protect you, but in return, we want your body. And it's like their arrangement, and I don't know, it sounds really good, and I can't wait to read it. So this is definitely something I'll pick up if I'm looking for like a spicy time. Watch I read this and it's not spicy at all, and I totally lied to you guys. From what I've read in reviews, it seems like it's going to be very spicy. But anyway, I'm very excited to read this. I always love a really good wide shoes fantasy romance. And next up, we have White Horse Black Knights, and I was gonna wait until the fall to read this, just because the cover of this really gives me like fall vibes, seems very autumnal. However, I keep seeing TikTok quotes of this book, and now I need to pick it up. So this is following this girl who's been living in isolation for 10 years, and her only companions are animals that she's able to talk to using her magical abilities. That is until she is sold into marriage to this evil king. And the only way she thinks she can get out of this marriage is to convince the huntsman, who is her jailer, to let her go. And then the huntsman has his own things going on where he's trying to solve this mysterious animals that keep like showing up on the border. And it sounds really good. Kind of gives me like Snow White and the Huntsman vibes. And I cannot wait to pick this up. So this will be one of the first books I read in January. And this next book was an impulse buy. I saw it at the Barnes & Noble hardback sale. And the cover and the title just kind of caught my attention. So it is A Study in Drowning. It is a YA fantasy romance. We are following this girl who has always believed in fairy tales and the fae, and she attends this elite, I believe it's like an architectural college, and she gets the chance to work on a house that once belonged to her favorite author who has recently passed away. Now, when she gets there, she finds out that another scholar has already taken up residence and is determined to prove that her favorite author was actually a fraud. And I think there's like a rivalry that turns into a romance, but also I think this house is under some sort of curse. So it sounds very good. It's also a pretty short book, so I think it's going to be a quick read. And it's been a while since a YA fantasy has really captured my attention, so I think this should be a very fun read for January. Moving into dark romance, first up we have Mafia Virgin, which is the fifth and final book in the King of Italy series by Mila Finelli, one of my favorite Mafia romance series of all time. The first book is by far my favorite, but honestly, I have loved all of them so much. So I've been really looking forward to reading this final book. This is following, I forget her name now, but it's Frankie, who is the heroine in the first books, one of her twin sisters, and I believe she is going to be forced to marry one of the people that's high up in the Mafia in order to like create an alliance between the two houses. And that is all I really know. That is all I need to know. I think this is going to be fabulous. Like I said, I've loved all of the other books in this series. You have Mafia Darling, Mafia Mistress, Mafia Target, and Mafia Madman, I think. I think that's Enzo's story. Anyway, I've loved them all and highly recommend if you're looking for a good Mafia story. And finally, the audio for HAWKE by Jessie Hall is going to be releasing in January. And I have been wanting to read this book since I first heard about it. I think it was either McKay from Oh Hey It's McKay or Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl. One of them was talking about this book nonstop when they read it. So I've been wanting to read it, but there's no audio. So now there is, and I'm so excited. So this is apparently following this girl who's in like the perfect relationship, and then they end up getting a roommate who is an ex-convict, and it's our main character's like romance with the ex-convict, and it seems like they hate each other at first, but then like slowly start to fall in love, and that is all I really need to know. I will say I have read another book by this author, that's Sick Love, and that book I wasn't crazy about, but I honestly think it's because of the time that I read it. So hopefully I enjoy this book a little bit more. I think I will, and I cannot wait to pick it up. And last up, I've had these last two books in, I think, 3 consecutive TBRs, and I still haven't read them. And it is Saving 6 and Redeeming 6 by Chloe Walsh. This is book 3 and book 4 in the Boys of Tommen series, following Joey and Aoife. And I will definitely be reading these in January, I promise. I've had so many of you guys messaging me, telling me how emotionally hurt you are while reading these books. And I can't really say anything because I haven't read them yet, but I definitely will be reading them in January. I am ready for Joey and Aoife's story. I know it is gonna hurt, and I also know that they are both gonna be 5-star reads. I also don't know how to turn off my watch, so this is gonna get paused. And I'm back. Sorry, new watch, still figuring out how to use it. I can't figure out how to silence it. I will figure it out after this video. But anyway, if you're unfamiliar with the Boys of Tommen series, it is a series following a group of, I guess they're like teenagers, but they act a lot older. Anyway, it's a group of teenagers that are going to Tommen University, and it definitely has a found family feel. The first book is following Johnny and Shannon has a terrible home life. She's being bullied relentlessly, and her mom decides to send her to Tommen University for a fresh start. And on her first day, Johnny Kavanaugh, who is a rugby player, ends up knocking her unconscious accidentally, and it is their romance. And the first 2 books were also absolutely beautiful and gut-wrenching, but I just know keeping and saving sex are going to be even more upsetting, but also beautiful. So anyway, I will definitely be reading these in January. Alright guys, those are some of the books I plan on reading in January. Please let me know down in the comments below, what is the book you are most looking forward to reading in 2024? I just cannot believe we are already in 2024. But anyway, I said this already, I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday, and if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. I will see you all next week. Bye!